right, kids, UnHappy Wednesday. Coming to you live from our humble abode. This is the UnHappy Gilmore Show, powered by Green Legion Radio and part of the Green Legion Radio family. We thank you, as always, for joining us from wherever you may be and whatever device you're using to stream us on YouTube, seeing as that's the only way to get to us right now. So please pull up a chair, crack open a cold one if that's your thing on a Wednesday night. Use the company dime if, God forbid, you're still stuck at work at this hour. And let's try to have some fun as we put an end to day 3 of this week's hostage situation and look forward to tomorrow being Friday Eve. So we're going to get right down to the business end of things, and then we're going to bring in our guest. You guys saw it teased on the show, so we'll bring in Private Alpaca Head here in just a couple of minutes. But I want to get to Michelle's favorite part of the show first. Everyone, we are proudly sponsored by Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, located at 2740 South Front Street in Philadelphia. Just minutes away from the sports complex, Cheerleaders brings you the area's most beautiful women on 5 different stages. Open 7 days a week from noon until 2 a.m. and until 4 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. For group information, call 215-467-1980 and reserve a private booth or party package. Also offering free parking, a full menu, daily drink and food specials, and a premium selection of cigars and a cigar lounge. If you can't get out to the link, you can't get out to the bank, and you're looking for a place to watch your favorite sporting event, head on out to Cheerleaders and enjoy the 75-foot HD TV wall, as well as HD TV screens throughout the entire club. Once again, folks, that's Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, located at 2740 South Front Street in Philadelphia. Call 215-467-1980 for all of your group and party information. There you go, dear, your favorite part of the show. Lou Mancini, what's up, brother? How we doing? Back at our regularly scheduled day and time here. One other thing to go over before we get to our guest. Folks, we are just 1 week away from the NFL schedule release. Keenan Harmon in the room, too. What's happening, my friend? Keenan tried to ask what time the show was going on tonight while it was in the post. And apparently Keenan was having a hell of an afternoon at work. So hope things have gotten better for you, brother. But again, folks, we are just 1 week away from the official NFL schedule release. We'll start getting more and more leaks as we get closer to that date. But along with that means your early bird specials, Green Legion, greenlegion.com, always at the bottom of the screen. Go over to greenlegion.com. Take a look through our new improved website, and then go ahead, click on trips and tailgates and away games and road trips, and find the one that makes the most sense for you. Maybe there's a bucket list item. Maybe it's a destination, a bucket list like Lambeau, a destination like Los Angeles, both on our schedule this year. A destination like Tampa, also on our schedule this year. Folks, we are at Buffalo, at LA against the Chargers this time, at Green Bay, at Kansas City, at Minnesota, and at Tampa Bay, as well as, of course, at Dallas. The best tailgate on the schedule every year. And the bus trips from Philadelphia to the Swamp and to the hellhole in D.C. or Landover. But if one of those trips sounds like your slice of pie, hop on. You can still get your early bird deposit in. And we'll break that down for you really quick here. Early bird deposit. Say you're like me, you want to go to Green Bay. And you and your significant other, wife, husband, whatever. I'm not allowed to assume anymore. So you put in your $200 per person deposit right now for Green Bay. Give your names. And then the schedule release comes out next week, and shit. We're going to play Green Bay on a date that doesn't work for me. Right? Be it Christmas, be it Thanksgiving, something along that, or you have a wedding or some other plans going on. It doesn't work for you. Well, one option you have is if there is another trip you're interested in, and those dates do work, you contact Stephanie, and you can move your early bird deposit to that other trip and not lose your place in line. The other option you do have prior to June 1st is to take a full refund on your deposit. All right? So it's the best way to go. Some of these trips are going to sell out very, very quickly. Some of them are smaller headcount, so they may sell out fast. Tampa, I think this is the third year in a row we're going to Tampa. But Green Bay is going to be a hot ticket. Green Bay will be a hot ticket just because it's Lambeau Field and all of that. I've actually put deposit in for that one. That's the one that's a bucket. Green Bay is a bucket list for me. Lambeau Field. I was in Kansas City. You can go there if you want to stick it in the Chiefs fans' faces. Might be a good time. Me personally, I don't ever need to go back to Kansas City unless Stephanie tells me she needs me there. If she tells me she needs me there, I'm gone. I would like to go to Buffalo. I'd like to go to Minnesota. LA was a blast. Obviously Green Bay. I've been to Tampa, but never going to pass up Tampa if you can go, right? The options are there, folks. So greenlegion.com. Anytime you watch this show, it'll be streaming along the bottom line here. Don't hesitate. Jump on board. Let's get out there on the road. I'd love to see you out there. Not quite sure what other trips I'll be on right now. I know I put my deposit in for Green Bay, so fingers crossed on good dates on that one. Then it's just a matter of where and when Stephanie and or Quimby may need UnHappy Gilmore out there to work the trip. All right. So we're about 10 minutes in now. And we're going to skip the boner of the week. We're going to get right to it. So without further ado, I would like to bring on, hang on, Lou Mancini, what do you got here? I'd love to, but I'm so broke they're going to make a meme out of me. Oh, shit, brother. I'm sorry. I mean, I get it. Times when eggs are $6 a carton, it's a little crazy. So I understand. But if you're done fixing your hair down there, Private Alpaca Head, we'd love to bring you on the show. Folks, my son, who is no stranger to this show, welcome back, Grady Gilmore. What's up, kid?
Hello. Hi.
So they all know, these guys all know what you're going to be doing.
Of course.
So he will graduate officially on May 24th. At the Cintas Center here in Cincinnati. This is where it's at Xavier University. So his graduating class is over 1,000 kids. It's going to be a long day. I think we have to have him there at like 7:30 in the morning. Ceremony doesn't start until 9, and he's about halfway through the alphabet. So going to be a long day. But a good day.
Probably not getting out till like noon, 1.
Whatever. You know what? I don't care. My son's graduating high school. 1 down, 2 to go.
Yep.
So on top of that, when you graduate high school, there's always you want to have an idea of what you want to do with yourself. Well, it was late sophomore year, I think, when you got home from school and told me that you had the opportunity to either take the SATs or PSATs, whatever it was at the time, or the ASVAB. And without even speaking to your mother and I, you went ahead and took the ASVAB. I'm not trying to make it sound like, what the hell, you didn't talk to us. It was a little bit of a surprise. We had talked about military for you, but weren't quite sure if you were all in yet. And you came home and told us that, and it was like, wow, okay. So how did you do? You told us a score. It's like, okay, we can improve. But it more than qualified you for every branch of the military. So if you remember my reaction, it was, what branch are you looking at? And he immediately said Army. And my reaction was, whoa, how about the Air Force? Trying to be a good dad. But ultimately, Grady is going to go be all that he can be. So let's hear it, kid. Why don't you walk these folks through what's going to happen later this summer and and how basically the next year and then going forward sets up for you.
Yeah, sure. So August 26th, I will be leaving to Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Make sure you give dates and be specific, okay?
I am.
I know. I'm just saying, you're in the rush.
Okay. For 9 weeks, and then I don't remember any dates after that because I'm me. But and then I'll be in Fort Meade, Maryland for 20 weeks.
So I remember the dates.
Okay.
So you're at Fort
Jackson.
for
Yes.
basic training for 9 weeks and 3 days.
Yes.
That is going to take him to November 7th. He officially will start his basic training on September 2nd, though he has to go a few days before for, whatever training they do ahead of time, classes and whatnot. So September 2nd to November 7th is his basic training. Then he will graduate. And then do you have your paper with all your info?
Yeah, let me grab it.
Yeah, why don't you grab that? And that's got all your dates and stuff. That'll help. You'll have to excuse him. He is not quite 18 years old yet, so the organization skills are coming along. They're just not there yet. So he's got his Army folder with his info in it, and once he's got that all together, he'll read off the rest. You set, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So November 7th, we're done with basic training. We have graduation, family day, all that stuff, and then what happens?
November 12th, I will start my job training in Fort Meade, Maryland for 20 weeks and 2 days.
20 weeks and 2 days.
Yeah.
And I think, go ahead, keep talking.
And then I don't have the end date. I think you have the end date.
Go ahead.
And then I go to Fort Benning. Forget where it is. I don't know what I'm doing. But
so you're going to be end of March when you're done with Fort Meade.
Yes.
And then you go to Fort
Benning.
When?
On April 13th, if I'm reading correctly, for 2 weeks and 4 days.
All right.
And then eventually
takes you to May 1st.
Yes. Eventually I will get to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, some way or another.
Where you will be stationed, right? This is where your first job assignment's going to be, is Fort Bragg in North Carolina?
Yes.
So your job?
I am a visual information equipment operator maintainer.
All right. Do we know what all that's going to entail?
I'm gonna be fixing and operating cameras, night vision stuff like that. Yeah.
And what's your mother's favorite part of the training that's eventually going to take place?
Yeah. I'm airborne.
So yes, he is also considered airborne for this position, which means he is going to have to practice jumping out of a perfectly good airplane.
Yes.
Good stuff. Lou Mancini. I love to. Lou Mancini says, Grady. So he's saying hi. Keaton, Grady Gilmore, allow me to be the first to call you a grunt.
No.
Cap is upset. He wouldn't be available until about 7:30 tonight, but he was fully ready to bust your stones here.
Oh no. About
including, I believe, had he been able to be online, he was going to expect you to stand at attention while he was in the room. Which I'm a huge fan of.
No.
Don't say no to a superior officer. That's not how it works. We don't get used to that.
I was saying no to you being a fan of it. I wasn't saying no to the situation.
Who else do we have over here? Lou Mancini, Grady. Let's see. Be all you can be. You hit the finish line and bam, you'll be able to retire a young man. So that's something else we've talked about. Oh, Scott Calcaterra. Howdy. Unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to meet Grady yet. There will be opportunities throughout the summer, Scott, and we'll try to make that happen before he shoves off. At first, we were thinking he was going to be like June, July, and then by the time we put a whole bunch of plans in place for parties and other stuff, it came back that it was going to be late August. So we've got more opportunity for him to see people, meet people, talk to people, and say goodbye to people. Or see you later is more accurate. But
Yeah.
So Lou brings up a good point. Something that you and I have talked about is how long do you intend to stay in? So 4 years is the minimum requirement, correct?
Yeah, I signed a 4-year contract.
4-year contract. But you're going in at 18 and, just barely 18, right? You're only a couple of months past your 18th birthday. So you're really raw going in.
Mhm.
Your 20-year matches you out and you'd be 38 years old.
Yeah. I mean,
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, right now I'd say I'm going to get out after my 4 years, but that's right now.
Okay.
4 years down the line, that might change. But
Yeah. Well, my stance. I'd like to at least see you stay in long enough to get the education while you're still enlisted. This way, when you're out, and you don't have to go to schooling afterwards and whatever. Stay in, take a couple of classes a year just to get yourself through it. Then you come out with all of your Army training, all of your leadership skill, plus the degree, and you're just good to go, ready to hit the world. That's my point. Honestly, overall, I think staying in the 20 years is the best thing, but
yeah,
that's a huge commitment, probably a whole lot for you to think about right now.
Mhm.
20 years is longer than you've even been alive.
Yep.
So I get it from that standpoint. But at minimum, I would love to see you at least stay in long enough to get yourself that education through the GI Bill while you're still enlisted. So you're not only having the government pay for your education, but they're doing that while they're also paying you as a salary
Yeah.
as a soldier. So that would be my best advice. Scott Calcaterra wears his boot camp. So he just ran through it. You missed it by a matter of seconds, brother. He will be at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, starting August 26th. And he'll finish it's November 7th. Then he goes to Fort Meade the following week for 20 weeks of job training. And then from there, he heads to Fort Benning in Georgia for another 2.5 weeks of job training. And then he gets his first assignment at Fort Bragg in North Carolina sometime spring of next year. May.
Yes.
Looks about a year from now. About a year from right now.
Yeah.
Is when you'll have your first assignment at Fort Bragg.
Yep.
Which is kind of cool when you think
Yeah.
about it, right? Like your next year is like you said, right?
Yep.
You're
I know
turn
exactly.
18. You're going to graduate on the 24th of this month. You'll turn 18 3 days later. The following week, you come work with me for the summer.
Yep.
And get yourself full-time hours and full-time paychecks. And then off you go. I think it's pretty dope, dude.
Yep.
Keenan. We want pics of the young grunt directly after they give him that Army buzz cut. I don't know if I can pull that off. He is Private Alpaca Head right now. Yeah, that's what Scott calls him. There he is. Screw that, Keenan. Adam calls him Alpaca Head. Lou Mancini, you said Army training, stripes. You've not seen that movie. And then Lou says, all kidding aside, he's proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Anything else you want to add to, what's going to take place the next year of your life here, buddy?
Nope.
Excited, nervous, scared,
kind of
all
indifferent towards it right now.
Yeah. What's the thing you're most looking forward to? Let's start there.
Leaving. As messed up as that sounds, I didn't mean like that. I meant like seeing new things.
Okay. Yeah, like seeing new things.
Living in a different place than where I am, getting to explore.
Yep. So Grady has expressed that Ohio may not be his thing long term, for the rest of his life. But I also noticed you backed off a little bit on that, given your current relationship status.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. Happy wife, happy life, brother. Hey, the only thing I've told you is go do whatever you want to do. But when when you do go to settle down and you're looking at having the kids, having the house, all that stuff, consider this area because you could do a whole lot worse as far as affordability, And school systems, place to raise your kids, pretty solid around here. So
Yeah.
Luke Mancini, Grady found a woman. Yeah, somebody actually puts up with Alpaca Head. And she's a very, very sweet young lady, too.
Bless her soul.
Bless her soul is right. All right. So let's shift gears here, kid.
Okay. That's why I'm here.
We had the draft a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
So obviously the biggest story of the draft was Shedeur Sanders. You know, my stance was not a shock to me at all. He went exactly where he should have gone.
Yeah.
If he's not Deion's kid with all that hype around him, he gets evaluated as a day 3 pick anyways.
Mhm.
And then add the hype. That's what drove Kuiper up a wall, who I ripped to shreds last week on Heart of the Order. But that's also why a lot of the people were like shocked that he fell to that spot. Personally, I think he was inflated by a very weak schedule. Keep in mind the Big 12 doesn't really have it doesn't have a great reputation as far as defense, and they were also they also had a pretty bad year as a conference last year. Arizona State was the best team in the conference. All right, so that should say enough right there. Arizona State, good team, a lot of fun. Not taking anything away from them, but in most years you're looking at an Oklahoma State, better people like that, right?
Yeah.
And then throw in the fact that he was also throwing balls to Travis Hunter. Like, that doesn't hurt, right?
No, it doesn't.
So, what were your thoughts on Shedeur as far as what he should have been evaluated as coming into the draft and where he ended up?
I couldn't have given a shit. But I didn't really care about him to begin with. If he went to Cleveland, he went to Cleveland. He went to New York. I'm sorry. Like, it's not. I thought he was like a 4 to 6 round guy.
So day 3.
Maybe 3rd round if a team liked him a lot. Clearly, no one did. But yeah, thought the Saints were going to end up taking that poor bastard. But the Browns have 5 quarterbacks now, so.
Well, I call it 4 backups and a pervert.
Yes.
Right? So let's stay on the Browns for just a minute here. I don't think picking Shedeur in the 5th round was a bad pick by Cleveland. I don't.
No, it's fine.
I think the bad pick is Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round.
And
which then when you couple that with Shedeur, now that makes the Shedeur pick stupid.
What makes the Gabriel drafting what makes the Gabriel pick look worse is the fact that they traded up for Shedeur. It's not like they just had that spot; they traded into that, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, and I'm going to be the first to say thank you to the factory of sadness for trading up to that spot, because the likelihood, if they don't, is that we take Shedeur Sanders. Yep, that was out there, bud.
Kyle McCord, welcome to Philly.
Yeah, well, McCord's one of the draft picks I want to talk about.
Yes.
But yeah, so the whole Shedeur thing, and it's a circus. So now they gave some free agent wide receiver or whatever number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Shedeur has taken number 12. That was all over the freaking radio today.
Yeah.
My thing is, like, I don't know. Number 12 number 12 may very well be the most iconic number in NFL history. Okay, when you talk about Bradshaw, Brady, Jim Kelly, who was I think Staubach wore 12. I mean, it's the number. So this kid's going to wear number 12. Now, I think from his standpoint, it was like there's 2 numbers that quarterbacks wear that have the number 2 in it. Number 2, which I couldn't get, and number 12. So I'm just going to take that one. It's also the reverse of what his father wore. So I don't think this is Shedeur saying, I'm on the level of Bradshaw, Kelly.
No.
I don't. I think this is Aaron Rodgers, all that. I think this is the kid just saying, yeah, Scott Calcaterra, thank you. Broadway Joe was another one, number 12.
Yes.
I don't think this is Shedeur saying, I'm that guy. I think this is him just being like, it's the next number that makes the most sense for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't wear my college number, so I'm going to wear number that has my college number in it, and it's the reverse of my father's number. So I mean, I don't really care. It's fine. Do what you want, dude.
I think it's much ado about nothing. I don't think it.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters.
And Shiloh has moved into Tampa Bay.
Good.
He was an undrafted free agent signed by the Buccaneers, and he has moved to Tampa before making the team, which I think is a little ballsy.
Hey,
but hey,
there's also worse places to live.
Yeah. Everyone lives in Florida, so I might as well go join them all.
On that, the rookie camp stuff. So Randy Moss's son was invited to the Vikings rookie camp.
Oh, that's cool.
And Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin's son was also invited to Buccaneers rookie camp. Just food for thought.
Okay.
They were both in the draft. They both went undrafted, but they both did get invited to rookie camps. So we'll see.
Got it.
All right, let's shift over to the Browns. I just wanted to get your thoughts on Shador overall, but let's shift over to the Birds. I love the Jahan Campbell pick.
It was perfect. I mean, it was just he slipped right into our hands, and he's another guy. He was a 5-star recruit, or like he was a top recruit as an edge rusher, and he transitioned to play on-ball linebacker because he could. He's going to play whatever he's the best at that moment, and whatever Vic needs him to play, which is absolutely disgusting. Couple that with Vaughn.
And Cooper.
And
forget how versatile Cooper is, too.
Just teams need to start praying. Because there can be one play where Zach Bond's lined up in the middle of the field, Campbell on the edge, and Carter in the middle. And then you can literally flip that. Campbell, Bond, Carter, because Carter can play the edge if he wants to.
Yeah, well, and I think one thing with Bond that people are getting a little mistaken, he's not much on the edge. Now he did rush the passer.
Yes.
But he rushed it mostly from his middle position. All right. They would just drop the end and Bond would come attack from different angles. But
yeah,
it wasn't always where Bond came up over the edge. He did, just not every time.
I'm just saying that's
but again, like you're saying, it's another versatile player to add to Vic Fangio's bag of tricks. He's now got 3 of those guys, right? Bond is versatile, Campbell and Cooper. Who I don't want the Eagles to get into a situation where they look at Cooper moving to the outside. I don't want him out there. I love him exactly in the role he was in last year. He needs to stay right there.
No, because whenever he was on the edge, he got toasted. Like there was those plays against Tampa when he was on Godwin.
That might be a little unfair. You got a rookie against Chris Godwin, who's a vet and a really good wide receiver.
You're supposed to be corner 2 on an elite defense. So I mean,
but
getting burned.
Granted, that was week 4 of the NFL season.
Well,
So let's get. He got better as the year went on.
Yeah,
highlighted by the pick 6 in the Super Bowl, obviously.
Yes,
but and the kid, this kid Campbell, he's got the measurables. He's 6'3". He's 230 something, I think.
Big man.
He ran the 40 and 4.5 flat, pretty much. I mean, he's got it all. First team All SEC last year. He led the Tide with 117 tackles, 11.5 for a loss, and 5 sacks. Now he's coming off labrum.
Yep.
Right? This is what bothered Roger, which I get, and I'm not trying to bash Roger. It was nice to mess with him a little bit, but it's not unwarranted to be nervous about it. My point is, this is a 21-year-old kid who had the surgery by the best doctors on the planet. The Birds do their research. They do their homework. If there was anything wrong, we wouldn't have drafted him. If there was any signs that this was going to be, a terrible, longer-lasting injury, or if his body wasn't reacting to things well, they would have known about it.
Yeah.
So I don't have any concerns. I think he's going to come out. And the good part is he doesn't have to be there ready to rock and roll and be a stud on day 1. He doesn't.
Nope, you got time.
You've got some time. What I do think this probably means, when you couple the Zach Bond signing along with this draft pick, this feels very much like the Kobe Dean is going to be out the door after this year.
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't have the money to pay him, so
You're
it's
not
more
going to
than
pay another linebacker that big contract. It's just not.
no. Which he deserves. He had a great year last year. Go get your, and if you have another good year, go get your money somewhere else. But we can draft another linebacker that does the same thing you do. Because
You just did.
yeah, we just did. But I mean, it's not like Campbell does more than N'Kobe. I'm saying
Scott
it's like
Calcaterra, look at young UnHappy serving up facts.
N'Kobe is just you just put him in the middle, good coverage guy, stronger than what his size is, but we can get a guy that's bigger, plays the same coverage, and can stop the run. So it's not too
That's the
difficult to
problem I've
replace,
always
unfortunately.
with Kobe is he's a little undersized.
Yeah, it's not difficult to replace, unfortunately. I love N'Kobe Dean, but
that nail on the head, kid. Perfect. That's exactly how I feel about him. Yeah, we could talk about Makuba, who they say is a very much CJ like safety.
yep,
Not
hits.
quite the biggest guy in the world, but hits harder than he is. Out of Texas again, another big prominent program. You know how I love that. I want my first few picks, unless it's some generational talent like a Quinion Mitchell. I want my first picks from the SEC, from the Big 12, from the Big 10, those types of conferences, those types of programs.
I wanted Mike Green, but
yeah, I was a little surprised. I know Mike Green. You wanted Mike. You and Roger both screaming up a storm there.
we were screaming every pick. We just looked at each other and went, "That wasn't Mike Green," and we just kept going. But I mean, I'm not mad at Makuba. I like him. I think he had a 3 INT year either last year or the year before, so he can pick the ball off. That's what CJ did.
A little bit of a ball hawk. Yep.
Yeah, this is very clearly a CJ replacement because we couldn't pay CJ, and we needed to free up that cap space and just get. So we traded CJ for picks and that dude from the Texans, that guard guy, and we drafted a younger, less of an asshole version of CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Well, so I was going to bring that up real quick about CJ. This is 4 years in a row he's been shown the door by whatever team he was on. So he comes to us from the Saints, and we let him go. He goes to Detroit. After Detroit, he comes back to us, and now out the door again to another team. So there's got to be something to that. Now, obviously, his salary cap hit was his salary hit was a little bit more than how he wanted to deal with. We got the ring. Time to move on. Like you said, draft his replacement. I still think you got to see what Sydney can do. I think it's got to be Sydney's job to lose going into camp.
Yeah.
You need to see what you have there. And if you can't do it, you can't do it. Reed Blankenship is also in a contract year. So drafting the safety was a must. And it may very well be again next year.
Yeah, it probably is. Because, I mean, Reed, you need – I love Reed, but he's gonna want money. Everybody's going to want money. And we're going to have to pay Jalen Carter a mountain of money. So it's
– so we're going to have about $100 million in cap space going into next year. Howie took care of that with the offseason moves this year, or lack thereof moves this year that broke everyone's heart. Yeah. It's like, look, you don't want to do – you want to sign this guy. You want to sign Milton Williams. You do that, you can't get Carter back next year. And who's more important? Let's be honest here. Jalen Carter is going to reset the market for defensive tackles. We all know it. But we're going to have the money now. So it's okay.
So you said 100 net before Howie does his witchcraft that he always does, where we're going to have somehow 20 opened because someone was like, he just spawned in money.
Well, he's already working on it. You saw the deal with Goddard.
Yep.
That got reworked for 2025. Scott Calcaterra brings up 7 tight ends currently in camp. But I think the fact that you did not see, we did not draft a tight end in a very deep tight end draft. Once we did not draft one, I think you had to assume that Goddard was going to be back, right? I think they were trying to shop him for that 4th round pick. Couldn't get it done with anyone. Or maybe they wanted more than the 4th round. But we didn't draft a tight end in a very deep tight end draft. So you had to assume Goddard would be back. It was just going to be under what terms. The other thing I would say is it's good that they did that now, because if you got close to June 1st and that was still hanging out there, there was going to be a lot of chatter and a lot of talk that we would trade him after the June 1st happens.
Yeah.
But that's all over with now. So Goddard be back for one more. This has to be it.
This is it for sure.
Dallas. And honestly, Scott Calcaterra. Scott, look, I know we've talked a lot about Grant's blocking ability that while has gotten better, needed to be improved. But the guy runs really good routes. He's got great hands. Is he the blocker, the menace that Goddard is? No. But I mean, we've seen Grant go out and make some really excellent catches in big spots. So, look, if this is it for Goddard and Grant is brought back because he's another one that's going to be in a contract year, I'm not going to be all that. I mean, it'll always be upsetting to see a fan favorite go, like when Ertz was gone. But I mean, I like Grant.
Yeah,
I don't know. I like Grant. Anyways, our third pick. So this one, I'm only going to bring up Ty Robinson out of Nebraska. I bring him up because have you seen his nickname?
What's his nickname?
The Vanilla Gorilla.
That's my new favorite. I love that guy. Oh man, that one. That one. A white guy nickname. A white guy from Nebraska with the nickname Vanilla Gorilla. Oh yeah, that's a T-shirt.
And he is a big. Oh, there'll be T-shirts.
You'll have one.
6'5", 288 pounds.
Yeah.
134 tackles and 12 sacks in 5 seasons at Nebraska after redshirting in 2019. Tied the school record for most games played. All Big Ten honors in 2024 after picking up 12 tackles for loss and 7 sacks. In a Big Ten.
Yeah, okay? It's not easy.
On a team, Nebraska, that is not surrounded by talent. Okay?
Nope.
So 60 career games, 47 starts, 134 tackles, 26.5 for loss, 12 sacks, 12 passes broken up. Yeah, he can come play for me. So I mean, I don't want to take forever on our draft picks here, and we're 40 minutes in because I want to let you run with the NBA stuff here because I know how much you love it. But let's talk Kyle McCord here for a minute. I fucking hate Syracuse with every ounce of my being, whether it's basketball, football, or whatever. I am a UConn fan for college basketball. I will always hate Syracuse no matter what. However, the last time we took a quarterback out of Syracuse was Donovan McNabb. And I watched that poor bastard get viciously booed off the stage because Ricky Williams was still on the board. Now, obviously, this is a 6th-round pick, number 181, and he's clearly a backup or third stringer. But a lot of people saying this was a pretty good pick by the Birds. What are your thoughts?
The year before last year, McCord was at Ohio State, and that didn't go well. He was a little over his skis playing against competition he wasn't ready to play against. But then he goes to Syracuse, has a great year. I don't know the stats, but I know he had a great, great year. Really,
391 completions, 34 passing touchdowns. That was 5th in the nation, and those both were school records for Syracuse. So school records at a school that McNabb went to.
Do you have his yardage?
I have his career stats. I don't have his yardage from last year. I get it, though. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Okay. But, I like him. He's not the most mobile, but he can move a little bit. So it's like a Kenny Pickett thing, except he has a bigger arm and he doesn't have baby hands. So that
bigger arm, bigger hands.
Yeah, bigger arm, bigger hands. DTR is probably going to be the backup because he perfectly suits what a backup that it should be behind Jalen Hurts. He's more of an athlete than Jalen is. He's a little faster, but he's just an athletic guy. And the Browns have Pickett.
I don't like I don't like DTR.
He gets hurt.
I don't mind him as my. Well, he's just not that good, dude. I don't know. You can't look at him, and this is where I need to watch my own shit before I call myself out here. Is where you can't get hung up on the backup, right?
Yeah.
When you're paying your starter the elite money, like a Joe Burrow, like a Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, all of these people, you can't afford a guy that can just sashay out onto the field and light the world on fire.
No.
It's a particularly sore subject with Philadelphia fans because we watched Foles do it some years ago. That is lightning in a bottle. Foles was never a good quarterback except for when he was brought in relief of an injured or whatever quarterback. The stats back me up. Please don't try to argue. I know you won't argue, Grady. You agree. But anytime Foles was then handed the keys, okay, it's yours, it didn't go well. We all love Nick forever. But the truth is what it is. He was a backup quarterback. Kyle McCord's stat line at Syracuse last year led the nation in completions, attempts, and yardage.
Okay.
Right? Yes. So 391 of 592 led the nation in yardage with 4,779 yards. That's in 13 games.
Christ, yeah.
34 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. 12 interceptions also led his conference. But led the nation in with 367.6 yards per game too. So he was slinging it. There's no question.
So we've got White Jameis on the bench.
Rushing is not his thing at all.
Oh, I mean, I'm saying like he's mobile in the pocket.
He is a passer. Yeah.
Nice.
So, but yeah, 13 carry. He had 67 attempts rushing for negative 65 yards. These are pretty much all sacks. So
that's not good.
Yeah. Let's see. Lou Mancini had that 27-2 season, but that was and if you remember, Lou, he also came in and did that when he came in relief of the injured starter. He was not the starter at the beginning of that season. Foles. Scott Calcaterra had a couple of things here talking about Grant. Wide receiver in high school. I know you like to talk about Zach Ertz. What different than Goddard? Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Goddard, look, Ertz had the relationship with Wentz, and Ertz ran great routes, and Ertz had great hands. Ertz also shied away from more contact than I've ever seen a tight end do in my life. Grant doesn't do that. Goddard will seek out contact. He is not afraid of it. And locker room presence, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I guess Ertz was a decent guy, but it does. And Goddard's been around longer with the Birds. We're a few years removed from where Ertz was at the time we drafted Goddard. So the fact that the Birds really haven't ultra aggressively gone after Goddard's replacement is a testament to what they think of Goddard over Ertz to begin with. But if you look at the situation, Goddard coming from he wasn't what the hell? I can't remember. The only Dallas that doesn't suck is Dallas Goddard. Yeah, I mean, you look at Goddard coming out of South Dakota State. This wasn't a big time school, right?
No, that's a small school.
Yeah. But then now you look at Grant, and that was Goddard to Ertz. And now you look at Grant, who went to big programs, but he had the injury issues and had given up football and then was cleared and was able to come back. And his story is just amazing, Scott. I mean, it just the way you were able to tell it while I had you on the show a while back was awesome. But it's not all that different of a situation. And, maybe it's time to see. I don't know. The bottom line is, regardless, I think you're going to see more of Grant this year.
Yeah.
Goddard still come in as a starter, but I think you are going to see more of Grant this year. And I think it should be that way. My personal opinion. All right, Grady, if you had to grade, before we move on to the NBA and get out of here for the night, if you had to grade the Eagles draft, and let's take bias out of it,
Yeah,
what would you say we did?
flat A, A minus.
Flat A,
I
A
mean,
minus?
didn't really mess anything up. Campbell's great, slid right into our hands. I wanted the Notre Dame safety over the other safety if we went safety over Mbuka.
Yeah,
I wanted
was a little surprised we didn't go Notre Dame, Watts, or
Watts.
the kid out of Penn State, because they were both still on the board when we took.
Looks like the Penn State guy, he slid to the 6th, 5th to the 6th.
Yeah, something's wrong there.
Something's up, but
something's going on.
But I wanted Watts real bad. But I mean, I'm fine with Mbuka. Hits people hard. Whatever you call our Nebraskan ape boy. I don't know. He's something. He's cool.
The Vanilla Gorilla.
The Vanilla Gorilla. There he goes.
Ismail this kid out of Georgia, the linebacker.
I don't know anything about him.
Mondona or whatever. 6'2", 224 pounds. Another Georgia Bulldog. So, I mean,
yeah.
I'll take the linebacker depth. All right. So, and I think I agree with you. You address some backup quarterback stuff late. Got a center. Got that kid out of Boston College, Drew Kendall, the guard center. I like the versatility and depth there.
That's another scout university.
Yeah, a couple of tackles late. I mean, I've got no issues with him. And, we ended up making more draft picks than what we had available, what we were going to have available to us going in.
As we do. And
we still have like 12 picks next year and $100 million in cap space. So overall, at this point in the offseason, Howie's once again knocked it out of the park, if you ask me.
Yep.
All right. Now, so this is something we've done pretty much every year, and usually we do a little earlier. But to this point, where are we at here? To this point, I don't know. I think I'm still a little bit in shock that the Cavs are down 0-2 to Indy.
Yeah, but I'm not. I've been saying.
Why don't you give us? So the first round was the first round, and I'm sorry, Sixers fans. That you really can't participate in this part of the conversation. The process.
Tobias Harris did.
If brutal, kid. Absolutely brutal. So, just to address the 76ers real quick. From 2018 through this year, here's how your season's ended. Lost in the second round. Lost in the second round. Lost in the first round. Lost in the second round. Lost in the second round. Lost in the second round. Lost in the first round. And cap it off with the cherry on top this year. 5th worst record in the league.
Yeah, they don't really have a lot of bright spots. Their bright spots names, I don't even consider Joel Embiid a bright spot anymore. I consider him a liability on your roster. Your bright spots are Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain. McCain had a great rookie year before he unfortunately got hurt. He was going to win Rookie of the Year. He still ended up leading every rookie in points and shooting percentage, I believe, from guards.
Keenan Harmon, outlaw the three-point shot, bring back basketball. If you outlaw the three-point shot right now, the Boston Celtics team would cease to exist.
They shoot so many of those.
They averaged 48 a game against us this year. I think they averaged 46 a game for the entire season.
They shot 45, and I'm sorry, they missed 45 against us the other night.
Yeah, they were bad. The first round was what it was. Maybe you're a little surprised at the Warriors, but then again, it's Steph. They've got playoff Jimmy, who's healthy. Can't be all that big of a shock.
Nothing shocked me except the way the Lakers crumbled.
That was just a thing of beauty.
Honestly, that didn't really shock me that much because that's a team that really needed a center, and they traded for one, a good center, Mark Williams. but then apparently he didn't pass their physical. And Mark Williams he was all up in arms about it. He was like, I haven't missed a game in 2 years for either of those injuries. So it's whatever. But
maybe the league is finally colluding against LeBron instead in favor of him.
That's not a league thing. That's the Lakers shut that down. They didn't like what they saw.
Maybe they want to move on.
It's not, again, this isn't LeBron, but
he's a bitch.
Okay.
Anyways, second round. Obviously, I already mentioned the biggest shock right now is Indiana's got not a 2-game lead. They're up 2-0 with the first 2 games having been in Cleveland against a Cleveland team that came flying into this playoffs, absolutely destroyed, wrecked house in the first round. What the hell is going on with the Cavs?
So I've been saying it since they got off to their super hot start. This Cleveland team is the most built for the regular season I've ever seen in my entire life. There are other teams that have had great regular seasons and flopped in the playoffs. Not like this. What do they have? 64 wins? And now you're down 0-2 to the Indiana Pacers, a team that is not that good. They're just well coached and deep. But the Cavs, it's Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, great players. The way I don't
know if there's a person in the league that can stop Donovan Mitchell from attacking the basket. I don't
No, he had 50 points last night, but that's all the Cavs had.
Freaking spat. I know.
It was just again, the whole series, both games. Been Donovan and friends. He has 2 great games, and they've lost them both.
Kind of like the Yankees, right? It's Aaron and the Judgettes.
Yeah, except the Cavs have other things like a Darius Garland. The Yankees have a fucking.
Yeah, we don't need to go there. Shut up. David Connick, Grady, sorry, buddy, but your dad is correct on LaFleur.
We'll know. Well, unfortunately, no.
Fuck him.
Okay. No.
All right. So so now that series is going to shift to Indiana tomorrow night or whatever. I'm sorry, Friday night at 7:30 is Game 3 in Indiana, and the Cavs have got to start. I mean, this has got to start being like desperation here. You got to get a win, dude.
Yep.
Or 64 win season down the shitter, losing to a team. Look, if you were in the West, the West is deeper. You can see the 4 seed beating the 1 just because. It's a better conference, but the difference between Cleveland and Indiana coming into the playoffs was drastic. And for the Pacers to be up 2-0 is obviously the biggest shock of the playoffs right now. I don't think it's close.
Fun fact I was looking at today, every underseeded team has won. The favorite the higher seeded team has not won a game yet in any series.
Yeah.
With the Warriors winning last night, beating Minnesota.
It's 6-7. Yeah, come on.
But still, it's a higher seeded team.
I get it. No, you're not wrong.
Nuggets beat the Thunder. Let's go Jokic, my favorite horseman.
No, I'm sorry. Aaron Gordon gets all the credit on that one, buddy.
I know. But I just
that 3 and kudos to Westbrook for the pass.
I'm happy Russ he's finally he stopped just shot chucking. He's like, okay, I'm done. I'm a role player
and
now.
That was a situation when he got that ball. He was right coming down towards the paint, and I was for sure he was going to try to make it happen. He would have gotten destroyed for it, but he didn't. He saw the open man on the outside, kicked that thing out, and they didn't need the 3, but it was there. He took it and buried it. That was impressive.
Yeah, I mean, Russ has basically just said, okay, I'm a role player now. I'm going to do that. And he's been good at it. So, of course, my favorite Serbian horseman is – I love Jokic, and I love his horses and how he loves his horses. So
you got the Wolves and Warriors, game 1 of that being the ugliest game of the playoffs so far.
That was –
It was non-existent. Didn't show up.
Jimmy Butler. Not Jimmy Butler. Draymond Green almost led the Warriors in points.
Yeah,
that just shows you
when that happens, it's an ugly night.
Yeah, great game from Draymond. Dude played out of his mind for some reason, but also Jimmy Butler for the first time in his career.
That's backing up the last game of of their first round series, where he came out and played rock solid defense,
As Draymond does.
and shut down Houston's guys. So, and then we get to the all important game 2 coming tonight. Knicks at Celtics. The Celtics, who outside of the last game of the year, so the last 2 times we've played the Celtics, last game we played them in the regular season, and the other night, both games went to overtime. We're 1-1 in those 2 games, I'm pretty sure. What's more accurate, that these 2 teams are that close to each other, or that Boston just kind of got lackadaisical, got cold, and blew the game the other night?
Mix of both, honestly, because the Knicks match up very well against Boston. Match up well. I'm not saying they're even, but they match up, like the matchups are all good. Except for Brunson on Drew kind of offsets, because that's bullshit on bullshit. But it's
Brunson's not out there for his defense.
No, and Drew's not there for his offense. I mean, he kind of is. He sits in the corner and hits 3-pointers, but
that's why you put Brunson with him, because he doesn't have to.
Exactly. But the Knicks, I've got this thing here. I've got another Brunson picture over there. I have my Stephon Marbury jersey on. I have 2 RJ Barrett jerseys up there and 2 Brunson jerseys up there, and RJ Barrett shoes on my floor. But I'm gonna say the Knicks are winning the series because I'm a Knicks fan.
The Knicks are winning this series. Dude.
Knicks in 6, baby.
Knicks in 6.
Yes, sir.
I'm not there, dude.
When we lose in 5, I call me a psychopath, but still.
So I've lived through this entire quarter century of suck. So I'm not there. I watched the Celtics team win the title last year. I still would not be at all surprised if they came out and crushed us 4 straight games and then went and rolled whoever they faced in the Eastern Conference Finals. However, there's one caveat to that. If the Knicks somehow win tonight and do what the Pacers are doing to the Cavs, the Knicks go up 2 games to nothing, with both of those wins being in Boston, I'm going to tell you something right now. That fucking team goes up 2-0 with a win tonight and doesn't win that series, I may become homicidal.
I might become suicidal.
That would be a massive choke job, but would be on par for us.
Oh, for sure.
Over this last quarter century. So
I came in the series.
Before that, my Knicks teams were Ewing, Oakley, Starks, those Charles Smith, Anthony Mason, guys like that. We couldn't get past Jordan. Nobody could, but those were the best Knicks teams that I've seen in my life, and it wasn't enough.
I came into the series expecting 4 to 5 games, get our doors blown in, catch them lacking game 3 or 4, steal 1. Yep. But that win the other night completely changed the trajectory of what I'm thinking this series is going to do. Because just the pyramid
down by 20.
In Boston. Exactly. Not only
down by 20 in Boston.
Not only did we steal a game on one of the best home teams in basketball, we stole a game on one of the best home teams in basketball being down 20. I'm talking about recent history, one of the best home teams in basketball. Maybe not this year, but.
Well, this year's what matters, though. I mean, look, when you're 61-21, you're not really bad anywhere.
No. What's their
own? They were 5 games better on the road.
Oh, okay. Still very good.
They were 33-8 on the road. They were 28-13 at home. The Knicks were 3 games better at home than they were on the road. So it's not a huge difference here.
No, but you go into Boston and you beat the Celtics. The Celtics are up 20, and you just immediately fight your way back in, end up beating that team.
Restart your sentence. You go into Boston.
You go into Boston. One of the most hostile fan bases in sports.
There are 2 basketball arenas where that kind of shit that happened here next should never happen. One is Boston.
That Garden.
Well, I would tell you Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah.
Those are your 2 most storied franchises, yeah.
Crypto.com arena.
The problem with the Garden is that everybody's best player always steps up because they love the bright light, right?
No, I said that Garden, like the TD Garden.
Oh, the TD Garden? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Okay. No, you should not go in there as an opponent, be down 20 in the second half, and come back and win the game.
No, I also, because of what happened the other night, I will be staying in my room for the game. Every time I came out of my bedroom, to watch the game with Dad, bad things happened, except for the ending. So I'm sitting in my room playing MLB The Show, and I'm just that's my night.
I got good rest last night, so I'm ready to fuck that all up tonight and going to work miserable again tomorrow. So.
I had the game up on my phone up until we got down like 20, and be just like monitoring the score, and then I see we're down 20. I'm like, I'm turning this shit off. I'm done. I'm being like, this is how the series is starting. It's gonna happen how I thought it was gonna happen. And then
that's what I felt. We were down however much at halftime. I'm like, And then third quarter, Boston runs out and they're up by 20. I was seconds away from turning it off.
It was 4 minutes left in the second quarter, and then they pulled away by like 16.
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting there like, oh man, really? We're gonna go out like this? So I turned the game off, just sitting there playing the show. And then my friend Ethan goes, Grady, check the Knicks score. I'm like, why? And then I get the ESPN notification, the Knicks are within 5. I'm like, oh. And then I come out to Dad and we're doing our usual fake comeback gimmick that we always do, where we bring it within 8 to 12, and then it's off again. But
yeah. Well, as soon as you came out there and started running your mouth, they started screwing up. I'm like, get out.
Yeah, so I'm not allowed to go out there tonight. I'm gonna eat my dinner really quick here once the show's over, and I'm sitting in here.
All right. Speaking of wrapping things up, let's get to your predictions for the remainder of the playoffs. So you got Denver up 1-0, Golden State up 1-0. Give me your thoughts on the West.
I don't like the Thunder. I hate Shea, and I think he's weird. So I have Nuggets in 5 because Serbia. Those are my thoughts on that series.
What's up?
I have Nuggets in 5.
Nuggets in 5.
Because Serbian horseman, and that's I love Jokic with every fiber of my body.
So you got Denver, and then how about the Wolves and the Warriors?
Warriors are winning that series. I think playoff experience is going to outweigh same thing with Denver. Honestly, playoff experience is going to outweigh the newcomer, the younger guy. Where the Thunder and the Wolves kind of similar. Both teams are really young stars. Haven't really been here. I know that they were
Thunder won 68 games this year.
I know. They both had deep runs last year as well. But it was like, I don't think they're going to – I just think that the experience, especially in the Warriors series, the
Warriors series makes more sense. I don't know how much I agree with you as far as the Thunder. Because they made a little bit of a run. And I get Denver's got the championship already, but –
I won't be surprised if the Thunder win the series. But
yeah, of course.
And then
so you're picking Denver and you're picking Golden State. Okay, so now you got Denver versus Golden State, and who's going to represent the West in the finals?
Denver.
Denver's going to get back there.
Yeah.
Do you think Joker's just too much for?
No one. That's not. You can't consistently.
It's valid, bro. I'm not doubting you. Just.
You're gonna have to try to do what last year in the Natty, what UConn did to Purdue. Just try to take away all of Edey's options and just let Edey hurt you. But the thing with Jokic is he's like a 6'11" point guard that has size and can shoot from anywhere and just does whatever he wants on a court.
Yeah,
he's not fun.
And to be honest with you, is a willing defender. And has gotten better in that department.
Oh, yeah. He was second in the league in steals this year.
Yeah. So he's no slouch on the other end of the floor either. So I like it. Out of the four that are left, I like Denver.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is they may very well get beat by Oakland. What I would say is I think if the Thunder win, I'd like to
Thunder in
see
the
what
bottom.
Ant. I would like to see what Ant would do against the Thunder. I would like to see what Ant does as the stage gets bigger. Right?
Yeah.
I like that kid. So I'm really I'm hoping, and I like Steph too, but I'm kind of hoping that the T Wolves get past her. I just want to keep seeing Ant as the lights get brighter.
I
But
think I know why you
as
like
far as a
Ant.
team, as far as a team, who I think would represent the West, yeah, I agree with you. I think the Thunder, I think the Nuggets, given their experience and the best player on the planet, kind of hard to disagree there.
I think I know why you like Ant because he plays basketball like he should have been playing basketball about 20 years earlier. He just drives and settles for mid-range shots that shouldn't go down. He plays
He's exciting.
basketball how every coach tells you not to play basketball now, and he does it and he makes it work.
And I also took a plus 3,500 chance on him being Finals MVP. So
Cool story about Ant. A kid's Make-A-Wish thing, or no, it was like a kid had cancer or something this season, and he had seen Ant after the game, and he gave Ant like a little bracelet, and Ant said, "I'm going to wear this bracelet every game for the rest of my career." So far this season, he hasn't taken the wristband off. He's had it on every game. But in the last game against the
it
Lakers,
broke, right? That's the thing you were
it
telling me.
broke.
It broke.
The bracelet broke. But he ended up somehow getting it fixed, and the bracelet's back on. So he's still fighting that kid, which I think is super cool. We'll see if he keeps the wristband if it goes in the next year and he's still wearing it.
That is very cool.
Very cool.
So you got Denver in the finals for the West. Over to the East, I've got Indiana up 2-0 on Cleveland, and the Knicks with a 1-0 lead on the Celtics. What goes on? Are the Pacers going to finish this thing off?
Yeah, 6 games.
Pacers in 6. You do think Cleveland gets 2?
Yeah, definitely. Cleveland's too good of a team to not get 2.
So okay, let me say it like this. I think if Cleveland gets, dude, if Cleveland somehow ties it, takes both games. What if Cleveland takes both games in Indiana?
Then Cleveland's winning the series.
Then Cleveland's winning the series. Yeah.
Because then you got Game 5 back in Cleveland.
If Cleveland were to win to Friday night, I think the Pacers have to win on Sunday.
Yeah.
Get up 3-0, and then you've got 3 games left, and you need one of them. Or 3-1.
Yeah, exactly. Game 4 is going to determine who wins the series. I mean,
Scott Calcaterra. Is that no O'Malley's in the Alley t-shirt? No, sir. I do not support any other watering hole in the area. At least not publicly.
And then down to my.
And Knicks and so as it stands right now, you've got Indiana, and for good reason. They're up 2-0, having won the first 2 games in Cleveland. Knicks and Celtics. Knicks up 1-0.
So there are 2 different parts of me on this series.
Who's winning the series?
Let me give it realistic. Grady says the Celtics are winning in 5 to 6 games. Knicks fan Grady says Knicks in 6, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, well, so who's the pick?
Realistic Grady's gonna say the Celtics do that in 5 to 6 games.
Celtics. So then we have Indiana and Boston. And really
Boston's
think
winning.
I'm pretty sure you know who's going here. Boston, say gentleman's sweep over Indiana type of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's safe. So then we have Boston. What?
If the Knicks win, we're finals bound. So that's what I'll say.
Don't get me started. Okay. We're not going to talk about that right now. If that looks like it's going to be a thing, we'll bring you back on. We'll rehab this conversation.
Okay. I'll be floating in my Brunson jersey.
No, I'll be completely out of my mind. That's the only one of the teams that I root for that I have never seen win a championship. The only one. So I've seen Penn State claim one. I've seen the Rangers win in '94. I've obviously seen the Yankees win 5 of them. I've seen UConn win 6, and I've seen the Eagles win twice. The Knicks have
Sweating on
never
those
won.
goddamn Knicks.
The Knicks have. If there's even a sniff of it, I'm going to be beside myself.
Oh yeah, like
All right. So Celtics Nuggets finals. I like it because I think there's a good contrast in
Mhm.
style. You have the Celtics, who are just bombs away from the outside, and then you have the Nuggets, who are centered around their enormous Serbian.
Of course,
What happens?
Boston's winning, repeating.
Boston's winning in how many games?
6 or 7.
6 or 7. And tell me why.
I think Jokic and the Nuggets are too good to let like a 4 or 5 game thing happen. But I also don't think Jokic is enough. If say Boston gets out of this series, and because there is a chance that they fall flat on their face, the Knicks win tonight, and then the Knicks take the series. There's a chance that happens. There's also a chance they fall flat on their face against Indiana because the Celtics, in history, besides last year, have tended to choke at points. But this year, saying they don't choke, it'll be 6 to 7 games. They beat Denver. Jason Tatum is a repeat champion. I think Tatum gets his finals MVP that he didn't get last year.
Okay, so why is Boston going to beat Denver? You're giving me why they could fall flat against the Pacers or the Knicks, or beat both of those teams,
They're too much. By that point, they're fine. Like you saw what they did to Dallas last year. Same team too. Literally.
Last year, different team. I want to know why they're beating Denver this year.
They don't have an answer for Tatum and Brown. Aaron Gordon can guard Tatum or Brown. You can't do both. Derek White's just going to be running around like a maniac. You got no one to guard him. Jamal Murray, maybe.
What if I keep Westbrook on the floor and have him stand up with Jalen Brown?
He would be more of a pest than anyone else they have to Brown. But Russ has been very good in that role off the bench. And if you take him in that role off the bench, you don't know what's going to happen to your bench. You might lose chemistry there, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you experiment with having Russ on him for the first game and see how that goes. If it doesn't go well,
I think it's worth a shot.
Go back to what you do.
Well, and here's the other part. Jalen Brown has not been good so far.
He's been stinky.
Normally, this is where he elevates and actually a lot of times becomes the better performer over Tatum. Hasn't happened this postseason. Not sure what that's all about, but it's I'm perfectly happy for that to continue, to be honest with you.
Also, Kristaps is probable tonight.
Whatever. He played the other night and then got hurt. He's always got something wrong with him.
He didn't get hurt the other night.
What?
That was Hauser, who's out for the series.
Was it that time of the month?
Probably. I don't know.
Is that why he wasn't feeling good? There's always something wrong with him. Always.
That's all I've got.
All right. You got Boston winning the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I want to disagree with you, I don't think I can.
Mm-mm.
I hate everything that Boston stands for when it comes to sports. All of it. The Red Sox, the Patriots, the Celtics, the Bruins, Harvard. All of it.
Harvard.
UMass. I hate them all.
UMass? What the hell did the...
But the bottom line is when you're that talented, you're that talented. They are the defending champs. I do not believe for a second that they're going to come out and keep missing 40-plus three-pointers every night. It is my assumption that they are better than Cleveland, just looking at them on paper, which, in my opinion, even if Indiana does beat Cleveland, I still think the Celtics are the best team in the East, regardless of what the record said at the end of the year. So if it ends up Boston, Denver, unfortunately, the smart money would be on the Celtics. Yeah. And I'll call it 6 games.
What did they say? Smart money don't make money? Isn't that what they say?
Whatever.
Go Knicks.
Go Knicks. I think it's one thing we can't agree on for sure is go Knicks. All right, Grady. Final thoughts, kid. Let's wrap this up.
Jalen Brunson's going to average 87 points for the rest of the series, and the Knicks are winning. And there we go. That's the end.
I love it. I would like to see a nice team game. And the other thing I'm going to need to see better performance out of Cat. And I need Cat and Brunson to not get in goddamn foul trouble like they did game one. Because while everyone's looking at the Celtics and how they collapsed, nobody's taking into account that part of the reason why they were able to bust out to that big run is because Cat and Jalen had to sit a bunch because of the foul trouble.
And that's
not going to happen every night, and I need Cat to be better.
We can beat Boston if both of our guys are firing. That was shown. If both of our guys are on the court and playing well.
Yes, I need Cat to be more efficient. He's not a great defender. We all know that. When he starts racking up fouls, he becomes absolutely useless on that end of the floor altogether. I need him clean. I need him making good decisions. I don't need him to score 30. I don't need him to bombs away 8 3-pointers. I need him to make the correct basketball decision on the offensive side of the floor. I need OG Anunoby to continue doing what he's doing. He don't need to score 30 either. But if Cat ain't going to do it, then somebody's got it. I need OG to continue just being OG.
And whether or not that's a collective 30 from OG and Bridges together.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. You want to tell me it's 17 or 18 from OG and 12 or 13 from Bridges on efficient shooting? Good. I'm there.
I need
all
15 from each. I can't get 12 out of Bridges.
15. I'm fine with it. Either way you look, either way you slice it, I'm good with it.
Each with like 6 8 boards.
My favorite Nick, taking nothing away from Jalen Brunson. My favorite Nick right now is Josh Hart. And I just need him to keep being that 6'4", high energy, high octane dude that's going to score me somewhere between 8 and 12 points, rip down somewhere between 7 and 13 rebounds, right? He's the Swiss Army knife. I just need him to keep doing that over and over again.
Before we go.
And then maybe we've got a chance.
Can I put my Tibbs rant on the air?
Oh, God. Go ahead. 30 seconds or less.
I'll try. New York Knicks head coach Tom Thibodeau is the worst head coach in basketball that coaches a contending team. We were bottom of the league in defense, and that's what you hired Tibbs to do. You hired him to come in and make your defense better. What is he doing if it's not defense? Because they're scoring in spite of him. The way we're still competing with these like top of the league teams is baffling to me, because there's no way that Brunson and Cat pick and roll spam is getting you to the finals, unless somehow you catch magic and blah blah blah. But Tibbs just sits there with his Homer Simpson haircut, jacking off on the sideline, doing absolutely nothing to help the basketball team. And he's just sitting there. And I'm like, I'm done. Fire him, hire Mike Malone, the man the Nuggets fired. I have an answer for your question, who would be the new head coach? It's Mike Malone. High pedigree, was a championship head coach. And now he can come coach the Knicks and fix whatever the hell's broken, because Tibbs is a moron. I can't stand Tom Thibodeau, and that's the end. My hat came off somehow, but we're here now. Those are my final thoughts.
I'm also not a Tibbs fan. I don't feel as passionately about it as you do, but I understand where you're coming from.
Can't stand that stupid balding troll.
All right, folks. And on that, folks, we cue the music. Grady, nice to have you on board. If the Knicks continue to advance, we'll bring you back in. We'll keep doing this. And then maybe when we get to the finals, have you come back in, or at the end of once it's all over, have you come back in and recap the playoffs in the season. But thanks for coming on, letting the audience know what the next year of your life is going to look like, giving your thoughts on some Knicks offseason moves, and of course your favorite, the NBA playoffs.
Of course.
All right, kid. Grab yourself some dinner. I'll see you in a couple minutes. Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
All right. And there goes my son. And that means it's time for me to cue the music. I'm going to get out of here. I've got a few things to finish up, and then I'm headed to bed. The next game is already on. I don't know where they are at right now. Let's see here. We are probably losing. What the hell? It is currently 16-4 Boston. So, yeah, things aren't going well at the start. Anyways, folks, take care. Thank you guys for coming on board. Come on back again next week. We're not gonna do Heart of the Order next week. It's gonna be UnHappy Gilmore show. Schedule releases next week, so I am going to try to get the Reaper on here with us, our fearless, our fearless leader who's been slowly but surely riding off into the sunset. We're going to try to get Q on here and see if he's available to talk schedule release and what the Green Legion may have coming up. If he's not, then we may do Heart of the Order next week, and I'll try to get Stephanie the following week. Until then, folks, take care. Enjoy your upcoming weekend. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Remember, the judge is not back in until Monday. As always, folks, go Birds.